Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make your lineup go from trash to being one of the best lineups in 2K. First thing you're going to want to do is if you just started a new account, you need to unlock the auction house. You unlock the auction house by getting 30 cards. The easiest way to even unlock the auction house is by typing in locker codes. You can find all the best locker codes on 2K22 MyTeam Twitter or just searching up NBA 2K22 locker codes on Google or something like that. And then after you unlock the auction house is where you can really start making your team a lot better. The reason why the auction house helps you out so much by making your team better is because you can start sniping on here and making a lot of MT. But to snipe on the auction house, you actually have to have good MT. So how do you earn MT in this game? You can earn MT in this game in many different ways. The first way you could do is actually playing like a little bit of triple threat offline. Triple threat offline can sometimes be rewarding depending on if the player in the vault's good and also if the rewards that you're getting on your win list are also good as well. There's a lot of factors that go into it. You just have to see what fits your team the best. Now, I wouldn't play Domination. I feel like Domination's a little bit outdated now. I did get Paul Millsap, and he was good for a little bit, but I just feel like now in the time we're in, I just don't feel like Domination is worth it still. So I would just stay away from it. One very key thing that you want to do is do all these skill challenges in here. These skill challenges can give you tokens, free pack, and lots of other things as well. There's always a new weekly challenge that comes out with the pack that came out that Friday. These challenges aren't very long either, so they can be pretty rewarding. Now, one of the biggest tips that a lot of people don't talk about too much is you should never open up packs, okay? It's just gambling your MT, really. That's all it is. Like, I'm telling you, packs are not worth it. You can literally go buy players for so much cheaper than what they are in packs. Now, when it comes to the reward section, token market's the really big thing here. Token market can actually make you a little bit of MT. These badges, you could definitely make some MT off the badges depending on what you actually pull. Some badges are really cheap and are not worth it. Some badges are really expensive, and if you pull them, you can make like 6K MT a pop. So it's not bad, but I wouldn't necessarily take your tokens here. The reward section isn't anything crazy, honestly. It's just token market players. Now, the token market players aren't necessarily bad, but for when you're just starting, it's not necessarily ideal. Now, it is very hard because this year 2K has been very bad with tokens, in my opinion. Tokens just haven't really been worth it ever since like a couple months ago when badges were actually worth something and you could actually do those badge packs and make a lot of profit off of it. Now we're going to go over the auction house. The auction house is actually very important. This is where you'll be making a lot of your MT, and it will help you out so much if you just take a little bit of these tips. Number one, always try to find snipe filters. Snipe filters help you out so much in making your MT. Some good snipe filters are like the 500 filter, where you literally just set your max buyout to 500. Another very good one is the diamond cheapest, where you literally just set your max buyout to whatever the cheapest diamond is. Another very good filter you can use is the Galaxy Opal cheapest filter. This filter is very good as well. Now, obviously, I only showed you guys 3 filters, but there are more than just 3 filters to use in these games, obviously. So if you want to find more filters, I'm gonna start posting more filters on Fridays, so that way when packs come out, you guys can start sniping like crazy and making lots of profit. Another good thing the auction house is used for is for building up your team. When you start making MT from sniping and stuff, you're gonna want to spend your MT on somewhere. One big tip I have whenever you're buying players is to never pay full price for the player. What I do is I actually try sniping my players. I'll usually sit on the filter that I want to get the player of, just so I can make a little bit more profit and also know that I got it for cheaper than what I was paying it for. So that way, if I don't like the player and I want to sell him back, I can actually make MT off of just buying him out. A lot of people don't do this, and I don't really see why. I just feel like it's a good idea to. Now, if you are buying dark matters and they're not buy nows, that can be a little bit harder. But the one thing I would recommend you do is like every Thursday, the market starts to crash like crazy when tweets come out about the content that's coming out for Friday, that 2K tweet. You'll start seeing cards go for cheap on Thursday, because when those cards get cheaper, you can now buy those cards for cheaper. And then when you get them and you try them out, and let's say you don't like them, you can just sell them back on like Saturday when the prices are finally back up. You just have to kind of keep in control of what those prices are. Now, when it comes to multiplayer modes, I'm just gonna say if these modes are worth it. Clutch time is usually worth it. It's not a bad mode at all. Draft mode, I made a video on this talking about draft mode was worth it again. If you want to go watch it, you can, but if you want to see the real reason why I don't think it's worth it, you can go watch that video after this video. Triple that online, depending on who the player is at the top board, is usually worth it. Now, Marquise Johnson, I've heard he's good, but I've also heard mixed things about him. It's kind of rewarding. It's also not rewarding at the same time. Unlimited, depending on how much pain you want to go through, you totally could do this. Obviously, unlimited can be rewarding, and it obviously is rewarding because if you get up to like those higher tiers, you can get really good rewards, like getting a Hall of Fame badge at Pink Diamond tier. Now, if you're thinking about doing Showdown tier, you're going to literally be going through the worst mental battle of your whole entire life. There are so many games in there, and you are only allowed to lose, I think, like 12 or 15 15 or something like that. But you have to total of like 80 games. I don't know how many games you have to win, but I don't recommend showdown tier. But if you get up to opal tier and you get the unlimited reward, it's definitely worth it. Now limited is kind of a hard one to predict, but when limited can be very rewarding, but it's also kind of a weekend thing, and it's actually very fun to play. Now limited is just a bunch of rule sets with how your teams are going to be set up, and that's how you play the game pretty much. 2K gives you a bunch of rules, and then you pretty much have to follow those rules when you're making your team, and it's not hard to do at all. And 2K will usually put like a certain reward into like the boxes that you get. So when you win a game, you get 3 boxes, and you're guaranteed to get the middle one. But so it is technically RNG, but if you grind it out enough, you'll get your ring. But I think limited can be worth it. Now, as I'm doing this, 2K literally just changed the rules on limited. Now, as I'm recording this, 2K actually just changed the rules for these, that there's now going to be an option pack for the 4 point guards that we tried voting on. 2K's now going to be changing it to be an option pack for 4 players, being Markelle Fultz, John Stockton, Jamal Murray, and Donald. So you're gonna have an option at those 4 point guards who I don't even think are bad. I'm very happy that 2K is doing this, just because it's giving us all an option to who we actually want to use. Now we're gonna do very quick on the exchange, because there's not much to cover in the exchange other than like right now there's free Hoff badge that you can get from the exchange by sniping players. Now you have to pay a good amount of MT for this. I sniped all the cards for these Hoff badges just to make it a little bit cheaper, but it's still gonna cost you a lot. And then pretty much everything after that, there is nothing good at all. Card grading service, we're not even gonna talk about it because it's irrelevant, but pretty much card grading service is pretty much just you can grade a card, and if your card gets like a 10, you get a lot of MT, and if there's like a 7 to 10 range, that it pretty much just depends on what your card gets graded, but you can make more MT by using that card. It's not a good thing that 2K added in. It's pretty irrelevant in my opinion. I haven't graded a card in months. My goal for this whole video was to take your garbage team that looks like this to making it a team that looks like this. It is not very hard, and if you just put in a little bit of time into it, you will have a successful MyTeam. And if you need even more ways to make MT, click on the video on the screen.